I used to think the Great Depression was a story from dusty history books, something our grandparents survived, not something we'd ever live through again. But 2025 changed that. It didn't happen overnight. There was no stock market crash on the news, no black and white photos of people lining up for bread. No. This time, it came quietly, like fog creeping through the cracks of a city that forgot how to care. We called it progress, but I think we were sleepwalking into another depression, a silent one. My name is Daniel Reed. I'm 33 years old, and for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm running in place. I work 2 jobs, one remote, one part-time at a grocery store. And somehow, my bank balance still feels like a bad joke. Rent has doubled since 2020. Groceries cost what vacations used to. And the credit card bill? It stares at me like a hungry wolf every month, asking for blood I don't have. Every morning, I check my phone before getting out of bed, not for messages, but for hope. Maybe my stock app will show green today. Maybe Bitcoin will rise again. Maybe the world won't feel so heavy. But it does. And every night, I fall asleep scrolling through people who seem to be living better. Influencers selling luxury while the rest of us barter peace of mind for another month of bills. Still, I try to stay optimistic. My dad always said, "Hard times build strong people." But sometimes I wonder, what if hard times just break the good ones first? It all came crashing down in March 2025. I walked into work one morning, and the manager handed me a folded paper. Corporate restructuring, that's what they called it. A polite way of saying, "We don't need you anymore." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do. I went home and stared at the ceiling, trying to figure out how to explain to my landlord that I couldn't pay rent. 2 weeks later, my savings were gone. I started driving Uber at night, watching the city through other people's eyes. Tired nurses, drunk couples, lonely executives with glassy stares. They all looked the same. Tired, quiet, pretending to be okay. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just my story. Everyone was struggling, silently. One night I picked up an older man, maybe late 60s. He wore a faded suit and smelled faintly of cigarettes and coffee. He asked where I was from, what I did before driving. I told him the truth. Laid off, struggling, trying to stay afloat. He smiled sadly. "Saw this before," he said. "Back in my granddad's time. The Great Depression. Except now it's worse, because people don't talk about it. They hide their pain behind screens." I asked him what he meant. He looked out the window and whispered, "Back then, people had each other. Now, we only have ourselves. And debt." That night, his words stuck to me like glue. A month later, I pawned my laptop to pay rent. It was my last tie to my old life. The one where I had dreams of starting a business, buying a small home, maybe traveling someday. The pawn shop owner gave me $250. He didn't even look at me, just slid the cash across the counter. I took it, walked out, and sat on the curb outside. For a while, I just watched people pass by, each face holding a story, each story holding a quiet desperation. That's when I realized what the silent depression really was. It wasn't about the economy, it was about us. The way we learned to smile while sinking, the way we normalized struggle and called it the grind, the way we traded real connection for digital applause and still felt alone. My grandfather once told me about 1930, how neighbors shared food, strangers became family, And hope was something people built together. And I looked around at my city, glowing with LED lights, but dim in spirit, and thought, maybe this time the light won't come from the screens, but from us remembering how to be human again.
Things didn't magically get better after that. I still drive Uber. I still count every dollar before buying coffee. But something in me changed. I started talking to people again. Really talking. I learned that when you ask someone how they're doing and actually mean it, they soften a little, like they've been waiting for someone to notice they're tired too. The silent depression isn't measured in stock charts or interest rates. It's in the hearts of people who gave up believing they deserve better. But I've learned something, maybe the most important lesson of my life. Money can vanish overnight. Jobs can disappear. Dreams can pause. But hope? Hope only dies when we stop sharing it. So I tell my story not because it's special, but because it's common. Because maybe someone out there tonight is staring at their ceiling like I did, wondering if it's all slipping away. And to them, I'd say, this time, the depression may be silent, but so is recovery, until someone decides to speak. So speak, help, listen, because the greatest wealth we'll ever build is the one we build together. History doesn't always repeat itself. Sometimes it whispers, hoping we'll listen before it's too late.